It was 3 in the morning when I found myself sitting at my kitchen table, holding a tube of personal lubricant in my trembling hands. The house was silent except for the old grandfather clock ticking in the hallway, the one my mother gave Devin and me on our wedding day 40 years ago. Each tick felt like an accusation, each talk a reminder of the life I thought I knew. My husband Devin Torres was upstairs snoring peacefully in our bed, the same bed we'd shared for 4 decades. The same bed where for the past 5 years he'd told me he couldn't perform anymore. "It's my age, Nia," he'd say, patting my hand like I was a child. "The doctor says it's normal. Low testosterone. Happens to men my age." I'd believed him. Of course I believed him. Why wouldn't I? But the tube of lubricant in my hand, 70% empty, purchased just 2 weeks ago, according to the receipt I'd also found, told a very different story. Let me back up. Let me tell you how I got here. 8 hours earlier, I'd been in this same kitchen preparing dinner. Chicken enchiladas, Devin's favorite. I'd spent the afternoon at my bakery Sweet Dreams, the business I'd built from nothing over 30 years, and come home tired but content. That's how my days usually went. Work hard, come home, take care of my husband, go to bed. Simple, predictable, safe, or so I thought. Devin came home around 9 o'clock, which wasn't unusual. He's a real estate attorney, and he often had late meetings with clients or partners. "Sorry I'm late, honey," he called out, dropping his briefcase by the door. "The Henderson deal is turning into a nightmare." I looked up from loading the dishwasher, and that's when I smelled it. Perfume. Not my perfume. I wear Rose have for 20 years. This was different. Younger. Jasmine and amber with something sweet underneath. The kind of scent a woman in her 30s might wear. The kind that lingers on a man's shirt collar when he gets too close. "You okay, Nia?" Devin asked, loosening his tie. "You look like you've seen a ghost." I forced a smile. "Just tired. Long day at the bakery." He nodded, kissed my forehead a peck so quick and perfunctory it felt like an obligation, and headed straight for the shower. Not the bedroom to change first, like he usually did. Straight to the shower. That's when the doubt started creeping in. Not screaming, not even whispering. Just there. A tiny crack in the foundation of my life. I pretended to watch TV in the living room, but really I was listening. Listening to the water run for 15 minutes. Listening to him brush his teeth twice. Listening to him use my expensive facial soap, the one he always complained smelled too flowery. He was scrubbing her off. I knew it the way you know rain is coming from the smell in the air. The way you know something's burning even before you see smoke. Woman's intuition, they call it. 40 years of marriage intuition, I'd call it. When he finally came out hair damp wearing fresh pajamas, he looked lighter somehow. Relieved. "Coming to bed?" he asked. "In a bit," I said. "I want to finish this episode." He shrugged and disappeared upstairs. Within minutes, I heard his snoring, loud rattling, oblivious. And that's when I started looking. I'm not proud of what I did next. But I'm not ashamed either. Devin had left his phone on the kitchen counter plugged into the charger. His laptop sat on the dining table, still open from whatever work he'd been doing that morning. In 40 years, I'd never once gone through his things. Never felt the need to. But that perfume, that immediate shower, that relief on his face. My hands were shaking as I picked up his phone. No passcode, he'd always said, "I have nothing to hide from you, Naya." The screen lit up immediately. And there it was. An email notification from 3 hours ago. From AC. Subject tonight message preview. Last night was incredible D. Can't wait for next time. I'm already counting the hours until my heart stopped. Actually stopped for a beat. I opened the email with trembling fingers. But that's all there was. Just those 2 sentences. No signature, no context. Just AC, and a message that made my stomach turn inside out. I scrolled through his inbox. Nothing. His sent folder. Empty. Deleted folder. Cleaned out. Devin never used email. He'd told me 100 times, "All this tech stuff is too complicated, Nia. I'd rather just make a phone call." But here was an email. A secret email. From someone who called him D. Nobody calls him D. Not his partners at the law firm. Not his brother. Not even our son Jordan. Only someone intimate would call him that. I took a screenshot. My hands weren't shaking anymore. They were steady. Cold. Mechanical. I forwarded the email to my own phone, then deleted the sent message from his account. I cleared the notification from his lock screen. I placed his phone back exactly where I'd found it cord positioned at the same angle. Then I went upstairs and climbed into bed beside my husband of 40 years. He rolled over in his sleep, his arm flopping across my waist, a gesture that used to comfort me. Now it felt like a weight I couldn't breathe under. I lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling while he snored peacefully beside me. And I started planning. The next morning, Devin left for work at 7:30, same as always. Kissed my cheek. Said, "Love you, hun." Grabbed his travel mug of coffee black, 2 sugars, the way I'd made it every morning for 40 years. "Love you too," I said automatically. The words tasted like ash. The moment his car pulled out of the driveway, I went to the hamper in our bathroom. His pants from the night before were on top the gray slacks he always wore to important meetings. I checked every pocket systematically the way I'd done countless times over the years when doing laundry. Usually I found nothing but old receipts, business cards, loose change. This time my fingers closed around a folded piece of paper in the inside pocket. A receipt from the Rosewood Grill. Date yesterday. Time 6:45 p.m. I unfolded it slowly like it might explode. 2 entrees. 1 bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon, $185. Table for 2. Server Melissa. Table 14. Table 14. I knew that restaurant. It was intimate, romantic, 20 minutes from our house. But that wasn't what made my blood run cold. It was the location. San Antonio. Right here. Not Dallas, where Devin said he'd been. Not Austin, where he sometimes met clients. San Antonio. Our city. He'd lied. He'd looked me in the eye that morning when he left and said, "I've got to drive to Dallas for the Henderson meeting. I'll probably be home late." And I'd said, "Drive safe. I love you." I took a photo of the receipt, added it to the folder on my phone I'd created at 3 a.m. labeled Evidence. The word felt foreign, like something from a TV show. Not from my life, not from my 40-year marriage to a man I thought I knew. The wine caught my attention again. Cabernet Sauvignon. The same wine Devin bought me for our 10th anniversary. The same wine he said was too expensive for regular dinners, but apparently not too expensive for her, whoever she was. I carefully refolded the receipt and put it back in his pocket. Then I did something I'd never done in 4 decades of marriage. I went out to the garage where Devin's SUV was parked, took his spare key from the hook by the door, and I searched his car. "Mrs. Torres, I'm not going to lie to you. What you're describing is a classic pattern." Thomas Rivera sat across from me in a corner booth at Josie's Cafe, a small place downtown where nobody from our neighborhood would see us. He was younger than I expected, maybe late 40s, with kind eyes that had seen too much. I'd gotten his number from my best friend, Ruby Peterson. She'd grabbed my hands at church the Sunday before and said, "Honey, you look exhausted. Is everything okay?" And I'd broken down. Not with tears, I had no tears left. Just with words. All the suspicions I'd been carrying alone. Ruby had hugged me tight and whispered a phone number in my ear. He helped my sister when she was going through her divorce. He's discreet. He's good. And Nia, he's honest. Now Thomas was reviewing the photos on my phone. The email, the receipt, the cologne. His expression never changed, but I saw something flicker in his eyes. Pity, maybe, or recognition. "How long do you think it's been going on?" I asked. "Based on the pattern, the confidence, the regular schedule, from what you've told me, I'd estimate at least 6 months. Maybe longer." 6 months. Half a year of lies. Maybe more. "I need to know who she is," I said. My voice came out stronger than I felt. "Before I decide what to do." Thomas closed his phone and leaned forward. "Mrs. Torres, Nia, are you prepared for what you might find? Sometimes the truth is worse than the not knowing." "I've been married for 40 years, I said. "I've built a business from nothing. I've survived my mother's death, my father's alcoholism, and every hard thing life threw at me. I can handle the truth." He nodded slowly. "Okay, here's what I'll need." We discussed details. Retainer, timeline, methods. Everything legal. Texas is a one-party consent state for recordings in public places, and surveillance is legal if there's no expectation of privacy. I paid him $3,000 in cash withdrawn from my bakery safe, money I'd earned myself from my own business. "Give me a week," Thomas said. "I'll have answers." We shook hands. His grip was firm, reassuring. As I walked back to my car, I caught my reflection in a storefront window. I looked the same 62-year-old woman with gray streaking through her brown hair. same simple dress, same sensible shoes. But inside, something had shifted. I wasn't just Nia Torres' devoted wife and baker anymore. I was a woman on a mission. That night after Devin left for another late meeting, I went back to his SUV. This time I was methodical, systematic. I'd watched enough TV to know where men hide things. Glove compartment, under seats, center console, trunk. I started with the glove compartment. Car manual, registration papers, old sunglasses, a tire pressure gauge. And there, tucked under the manual, where someone would only find it if they were really looking, the tube of personal lubricant. I pulled it out slowly like it might burn my hand. It was expensive. Premium brand. Water-based. The kind of thing you buy when you're planning to use it regularly. The kind of thing a man doesn't need when he supposedly has erectile dysfunction in a sexless marriage. The tube was squeezed in the middle, about 70% empty. Well used. Recently purchased, I found the receipt dated 2 weeks ago, crumpled in the cup holder. $24.99 at the CVS on Henderson Street. I sat there in the driver's seat of my husband's car holding this object, and something inside me just broke. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a quiet shattering like ice cracking on a frozen pond. For 5 years, Devin had been telling me he couldn't perform. 5 years of me feeling undesirable, unattractive, too old. 5 years of wondering if it was something wrong with me, if I'd gained too much weight, if I wasn't exciting enough anymore. 5 years of lies. He could perform just fine, just not with me. I took photos, close-ups of the tube, the receipt. Then I put everything back exactly as I'd found it. I kept searching. Under the passenger seat, I found a bobby pin, not mine. I never wore them. In the back seat, wedged between the cushions, a crumpled napkin with lipstick stains. Not my shade. Too bright. Too young. In the trunk, an overnight bag I'd never seen before. I unzipped it carefully. Inside, a change of men's clothes. Fresh shirt. Cologne. A receipt from the Four Seasons Hotel dated 3 days ago. One night. $480. The Four Seasons. The nicest hotel in San Antonio. I photographed everything. Every piece of evidence of a life my husband was living without me. A life he'd built in the shadows while I'd been baking pies and making his coffee and believing his lies. When I finally went back inside, it was almost midnight. Devin came home 20 minutes later, whistling. Actually whistling. "Good meeting," I asked from the kitchen, my voice steady. "Exhausting," he said, loosening his tie. "But productive. I'm beat." He kissed my forehead and went upstairs. Within minutes, the snoring started again. I sat at the kitchen table with my phone scrolling through the photos I'd taken. 37 pictures. Each one a tiny piece of the truth I'd been too blind to see. My phone buzzed. A text from Thomas Rivera. "First photos ready. Are you somewhere private?" My hands started shaking again. "Yes," I typed back. "Send them." The photos came through one by one. The first showed Devin outside an upscale Italian restaurant downtown. He was holding the door open for someone, a woman I couldn't see clearly. She wore a large hat and oversized sunglasses. The second showed them inside, sitting at a corner table. Candles, wine, his hand covering hers across the table. The third was closer. The woman had removed her sunglasses to look at the menu. I zoomed in on her face, and the world tilted sideways. I knew that face. I'd looked at that face across my dinner table every Sunday for the past 3 years. I'd taught that woman how to make my family's flan recipe. I'd welcomed her into my home, into my family, into my heart. The woman my husband was having an affair with was Aaliyah, my daughter-in-law, my son Jordan's wife. I dropped my phone. It clattered on the kitchen table, the image still glowing on the screen. That face, those eyes I'd looked into 100 times. Devin wasn't just cheating on me. He was destroying our entire family. I didn't sleep that night. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that photo. Aaliyah's face smiling across the table at my husband. Devin's hand covering hers. The intimacy between them so obvious, so casual, like they'd done it 1,000 times before. My daughter-in-law. The woman my son Jordan loved. The woman I'd welcomed into our family 3 years ago with open arms. I thought back to their wedding. Me and Devin standing side by side watching Jordan kiss his bride. Devin had tears in his eyes. "Our boy's all grown up," he'd whispered to me. I'd squeezed his hand thinking we were sharing a beautiful moment. Now I wondered, when did it start at the wedding? Before or after when Devin came downstairs at 6:30 a.m. I was already dressed, sitting at the kitchen table with my coffee. I'd made his breakfast. Eggs, toast, bacon. Like nothing had changed. "You're up early," he said, surprised. "Couldn't sleep," I replied. It wasn't a lie. He sat down, scrolling through his phone while he ate. I watched him. Really watched him. Looking for signs I'd missed. When did he become a stranger? Or had he always been one, and I'd just been too trusting to see it? "I have meetings all day," he said between bites. "Might be late again tonight." "With Aaliyah?" The words slipped out before I could stop them. He looked up sharply. "What?" My heart pounded, but I kept my face neutral. "I mean, is Jordan's case still giving you trouble? I know Aaliyah mentioned you were helping them with some real estate paperwork." His shoulders relaxed. "Oh, right. Yeah, that's ongoing." He was so smooth, so practiced. 40 years of lying, and I'd never caught on. "Well, don't work too hard," I said, smiling. The smile hurt my face. He kissed my cheek and left. I watched his car disappear down the street. Then I called Thomas Rivera. "Mrs. Torres, I need to warn you before you listen to this." We were back at Josie's Cafe. Thomas had a small digital recorder on the table between us, and his expression was grim. "I've been doing this job for 15 years, he continued. "I've seen a lot of ugly things. But this, what I'm about to play for you, goes beyond a simple affair." My mouth went dry. "What do you mean?" "I recorded them yesterday in the Four Seasons parking lot. They didn't know I was there. I used a directional microphone from my car. Everything I did is legal under Texas law. I want you to know that." "Just play it," I said. My voice sounded far away. He pressed play. Static, then voices, clear as day. "Alia. Baby, when are we finally going to tell them I'm so tired of sneaking around like this?" "Devin. Soon, sweetheart, I promise. I just need to finalize a few things with the business first." "Alia. What about Jordan and your wife?" "Devin. Jordan's clueless. He works those crazy fire department shifts he barely notices you're gone half the time. And Nia? Nia trusts me completely. She always has. That's her weakness." I flinched like he'd slapped me. My weakness. Trusting my husband was my weakness. "Aaliyah, I just want us to be together, openly. I'm tired of pretending I hate you at family dinners." Devin laughing. "You're a good actress, I'll give you that. Even Nia thinks you can't stand me." More laughter. Both of them, laughing about deceiving me. "Aaliyah, how much longer for the paperwork?" Devin. "Maybe 2 more weeks. I've got the documents ready. Once Nia signs and she trusts me with all the business stuff, I'll have controlling ownership transferred. Then we file for divorce, I take my share, and we're free." The words hit me like a physical blow. I gripped the edge of the table. "Wait," I said, my voice shaking. "What paperwork? What ownership?" Thomas stopped the recording. "That's what I wanted to talk to you about. I think you need to review your business documents. Immediately." 2 hours later, I sat in Attorney Diane Foster's office, surrounded by papers I should have read more carefully years ago. Diane was Ruby's recommendation, a divorce lawyer who specialized in complex financial cases. She was sharp, no-nonsense, with steel-gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. "Mrs. Torres," she said, spreading documents across her desk. "When did you add your husband as co-owner of Sweet Dreams Bakery?" I didn't. I mean, not really. He's my husband, but the business is mine. I built it myself." She slid a paper toward me. "This document from 2018 says otherwise. See this signature? That's yours." I stared at the paper. My signature was there along with Devin's. Legal language I didn't understand. Something about restructuring for tax purposes and spousal co-ownership. "I remember this," I said slowly. "Devin said it was for taxes, that we'd save money if the business was in both our names. He's a lawyer, I trusted him." "I'm sure you did." Diane's voice was kind but firm. "But Mrs. Torres, according to these documents, your husband now owns 40% of your bakery empire. And look here." She pointed to another section. "He's been transferring profits to an offshore account. Small amounts at first, but they've gotten bigger. Over the past 2 years, he's moved approximately $400,000. The room spun. 400,000. There's more. Diane pulled out another folder. I did some digging. Your husband has been working with a business attorney, not his usual partner, to prepare dissolution documents. If he files correctly, he could force a buyout. You'd have to either pay him $2.8 million for his share or sell the entire business and split the proceeds. I couldn't breathe. My bakery, my life's work. 30 years of waking up at 4 a.m. kneading dough until my hands ached building something from nothing. And he was planning to take it, to steal it. Can he do that? I whispered. Unfortunately, yes. You signed the ownership transfer. It's legal. Diane leaned forward. But Mrs. Torres Nia, here's the thing. He doesn't know that you know. That's your advantage. What do? We build a counter case. Fraud, coercion, breach of fiduciary duty, and we do it quietly before he makes his move. Her eyes were fierce. How much evidence do you have of the affair? I pulled out my phone and showed her everything. The photos, the recordings, the receipts. She smiled for the first time. Oh, we're going to destroy him. Devin, honey, I need to tell you something. It was Tuesday evening. Devin was home early for once, watching TV in the living room. I sat down beside him, playing the role I'd perfected over 40 years, the devoted, unsuspecting wife. What's up? He barely looked away from the screen. I have to go to Dallas tomorrow. The supplier for the bakery, there's an issue with the new contract. I'll probably need to stay overnight, maybe 2 nights. Now I had his full attention. Dallas this week. I know, terrible timing, but if I don't handle this in person, we could lose our biggest supplier. I touched his hand. Will you be okay on your own? I watched something flicker across his face. Excitement, opportunity. Of course, he said. You do what you need to do. I'll be fine. Are you sure I can ask Ruby to bring you dinner? Nia, I'm a grown man. I can feed myself for 2 days. He squeezed my hand and I had to fight not to pull away. You take care of business. Don't worry about me. I bet he couldn't wait for me to leave. That night I called Thomas Rivera. It's happening. He thinks I'm leaving tomorrow morning. I need cameras in my house. Already ahead of you, Thomas said. Small hidden live stream to your phone. I'll install them tomorrow while he's at work. I also called Jordan, my son, my baby boy who had no idea his wife and his father were betraying him. Hey, Mom, he answered. I could hear fire station noise in the background. What's up? Just wanted to say I love you, sweetheart. A pause. I love you too, Mom. You okay? You sound weird. I'm fine. Just missing you. Tell Aaliyah I said hello. The name tasted like poison. Will do. She's been working late a lot lately, some freelance marketing project. But I'll tell her. Working late? Sure. Jordan, I said, my voice breaking despite my best efforts. No matter what happens, remember I love you. So much. Mom, you're freaking me out. Are you sick? Is something wrong? No, baby. Nothing's wrong. I'll explain everything soon. I promise. After I hung up, I let myself cry. Just for a minute. Just for the son who was going to have his heart broken, and the mother who had to be the one to break it. Wednesday morning, I made a big show of leaving. Suitcase in hand, travel mug of coffee, kiss on Devin's cheek. Drive safe, he called from the doorway. Call me when you get there. I will. Love you. The lie came automatically. I drove to Ruby's house 3 blocks away. She was waiting at the door, already knew the plan. Come on, she said, pulling me inside. We'll watch from my guest room. I've got coffee tissues and a baseball bat if you need it. From Ruby's window, we had a clear view of my house. Thomas had installed 3 cameras, living room, kitchen, and bedroom. The feeds streamed directly to my phone. At 10:30, Devin's car pulled into the driveway. At 10:45, a taxi arrived. Aaliyah got out wearing a sundress I'd never seen before, yellow youthful, the kind of dress a woman wears for her lover, not her father-in-law. She looked both ways before hurrying to the door. Devin opened it, and even from Ruby's window I could see him smile. A smile I hadn't seen in years. Young, happy, excited. He pulled her inside. Oh, honey, Ruby whispered, gripping my hand. I couldn't speak. I just opened the camera app on my phone. The living room camera showed them embracing, deep, passionate kissing, his hands in her hair, her arms around his neck. Finally, Aaliyah breathed, pulling back. Finally, we don't have to hide in hotels. I told you, Devin said. Nia's predictable. When she says she's going to Dallas, she goes to Dallas. We have the house to ourselves. They moved to the kitchen. opened a bottle of wine from my wine rack, poured into my glasses. To us, Devin toasted, and to freedom. How much longer? Aaliyah asked. Not long. I've got the papers ready. Next week is the bakery's anniversary party, big public event, lots of witnesses. I'll serve her the divorce papers there. She won't make a scene she never does. She'll sign everything and then we'll have everything. Aaliyah finished. She leaned against my kitchen counter, sipping my wine in my house. The money from the bakery, the house, everything. 2.8 million, baby. We'll be set for life. My hands shook so badly I nearly dropped the phone. They cooked dinner together. In my kitchen, using my pots and pans. They fed each other bites of pasta, laughing. Then they moved upstairs, to my bedroom. Naya, you don't have to watch this, Ruby said gently. But I did. I needed to see it. Every moment, every betrayal. The bedroom camera showed them on my bed. My sheets, the bed I'd shared with Devin for 40 years. I love you, Aaliyah whispered. I love you too, Devin replied. So much. You make me feel young again, alive. And then I heard something that made my blood freeze. What about Jordan? Aaliyah asked. Won't he be devastated? Devin shrugged. He'll get over it. Kids are resilient. Besides, it's not like he satisfies you anyway, right? That's what you told me. Aaliyah laughed. God, no. He's so boring in bed. Nothing like you. They were laughing about destroying my son. I turned off the phone. I'd seen enough. Ruby, I said, my voice eerily calm. I need you to do something for me. Thomas called me that evening with information I hadn't asked for, but desperately needed. I did a deep dive on Aaliyah, he said. Background check, financial records, the works. Nia, I think you should know this wasn't random. She targeted him. What do you mean? Aaliyah's family is drowning in debt. Her father had a heart attack 2 years ago, medical bills over $200,000. Plus he has a gambling problem. Their house is in foreclosure. I sat down slowly. I didn't know any of this. She didn't tell Jordan either, from what I can see. But get this, I found text messages between Aaliyah and her sister from 18 months ago, right before the affair started. How did you get those? Her sister's Facebook isn't as private as she thinks. She posted screenshots during an argument. He paused. Nia, do you want to hear what they say? Tell me. The sister wrote, "You're really going through with this, seducing your husband's father." And Aaliyah responded, "Jordan's dad is loaded and lonely. This is my family's ticket out of debt. Don't judge me. Desperate times." The phone nearly slipped from my fingers. "There's more," Thomas continued. "Another message. He's not even that old. Kind of distinguished, actually. And he looks at me like I'm special. Like I'm the only woman in the world. Easy target." Easy target. That's what my husband was to her. Not a love affair. Not passion. A calculated con. She played him, I said quietly. She played all of you, Thomas corrected. And Mrs. Torres, the financial records show Devin's been giving her money. $20,000 over the past year. Small amounts different times. He probably thought he was helping his daughter-in-law. He had no idea she was bleeding him dry while sleeping with him. I should have felt vindicated. Should have felt like this made it easier. They were both users, both liars. But all I felt was sad. Sad for the family that was about to explode. Sad for Jordan, who loved a woman who never loved him back. Sad for 40 years of my life that turned out to be built on sand. "Thomas," I said, "I'm ready. Let's finish this." "What do you want to do?" I took a deep breath. "I want to destroy them. Legally, publicly, completely. Can you help me do that?" "Mrs. Torres," Thomas said, and I could hear the smile in his voice. "It would be my absolute pleasure." 10 days later, I walked into the Travis County Courthouse with Diane Foster by my side and a folder full of evidence in my hands. "Are you ready?" Diane asked. I thought about 40 years of marriage. I thought about my son. I thought about the bakery I'd built with my own 2 hands while Devin took client lunches and claimed half the credit. "I'm ready." We filed 4 documents simultaneously: divorce petition citing adultery, emergency restraining order, asset freeze, and a lawsuit for business fraud. Every piece of paper backed by photos, videos, audio recordings, and financial records. The court clerk's eyes widened as she reviewed the evidence photos. "Ma'am," she said quietly, "I'm so sorry." "Don't be sorry," I replied. Just process the papers. The emergency hearing was scheduled for that same afternoon. Devin's lawyer looked like he'd been hit by a truck because Devin hadn't told him anything. Couldn't tell him. Didn't know it was coming. Devin sat at the defendant's table in his expensive suit, his face pale as chalk. He kept looking at me, his eyes pleading. I looked straight ahead. The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s named Judge Patricia Morales, reviewed the evidence in silence. The courtroom was so quiet I could hear my own heartbeat. Finally, she looked up. "Mr. Torres, I've been on this bench for 23 years. I've seen a lot of ugly things. But this?" She shook her head. "Based on the photographic, video, and audio evidence presented, I'm granting the temporary restraining order. Effective immediately, you are barred from the marital home, all business properties owned by Sweet Dreams Bakery, and any joint financial accounts are frozen pending final divorce proceedings." Devin's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, if we could have time to review—" "Counselor, your client has been stealing from his wife's business while conducting an affair with their daughter-in-law. What exactly would you like to review?" Silence. Motion granted. Next case. In the hallway, Devin tried to approach me. "Nia, please. Can we just talk?" "No," I said. The word felt powerful. Final. "We're done talking. Your lawyer will hear from mine." I walked away. For the first time in 40 years, I walked away from Devin Torres and didn't look back. The hardest part wasn't the courthouse. It wasn't confronting Devin. It was sitting across from my son in my living room watching his world fall apart. Jordan had come straight from his shift at the fire station, still in his uniform. He looked so much like his father, same jaw, same eyes. But where Devin's eyes had learned to lie, Jordan still held honesty. "Mom, what's going on?" Dad called me. He was freaking out about court papers. I handed him my phone. "I need you to watch something. And Jordan, baby, I'm so sorry." He watched the videos. All of them. The restaurant, the hotel, the bedroom camera footage. I'd edited out the intimate parts, but the conversation was clear. I watched my son's face crumble, watched him go from confusion to disbelief to rage to devastation in the span of 5 minutes. "No," he whispered. "No, Aaliyah wouldn't. Dad wouldn't." "I'm sorry," I said, my voice breaking. "I'm so sorry you had to find out this way. But you needed to know the truth." He dropped the phone, put his head in his hands, and my 35-year-old son cried like he was 5 years old again. I moved to the couch beside him, pulled him into my arms like I used to when he was little and had nightmares. "How long have you known?" he asked through tears. 2 weeks. I needed evidence. For you, for me, for the courts. Does Aaliyah know that you know?" "Not yet." He pulled back, wiped his eyes. "I'm filing for divorce, too." "I know, baby. Diane's already prepared the papers. There's a prenup, she gets nothing." Something fierce flashed in his eyes. Good. We sat there together, 2 people who'd loved and trusted and been destroyed by that trust. "Jordan," I said softly, "I need to tell you something else. They were planning to take the bakery. Your father was stealing from the business. They wanted to force a buyout and run away together." His hands clenched into fists. "I want to—" "I know, but we don't. We do this the right way. Through the courts, through the law." I took his hand. "We're better than them." He nodded slowly. "When did you get so strong, Mom?" The story broke fast. Small towns are like that, secrets spread like wildfire. Ruby accidentally mentioned it to her prayer group. Someone there posted on Facebook. By the next morning, it was all over San Antonio. Local attorney Devin Torres caught an affair with daughter-in-law. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Reporters, friends, customers. Everyone wanted to know if it was true. I didn't hide, didn't run. Instead, I opened Sweet Dreams Bakery like I did every morning at 6 a.m. By 7, the line was out the door. Mrs. Henderson came in first. "Nia Torres, you are the strongest woman I know. I'm buying 2 dozen cookies." "I'll take 3 dozen, someone else called. "And Nia, we're all with you." The support was overwhelming. Cards, flowers, casseroles appearing on my doorstep, the whole community rallying around me. Devin's law firm. They asked him to resign. His clients dropped him one by one. His reputation, built over 40 years, destroyed in 48 hours. Aaliyah's family. Her father showed up at the bakery one morning, hat in hand. "Mrs. Torres, I don't know what to say except I'm sorry. We didn't raise her to be like this." "I know," I said gently. Sometimes people make their own choices. The divorce was finalized last week. Devin got $400,000, 10% of what he wanted. The judge wasn't kind to adulterers who commit fraud. Jordan moved in with me temporarily. We're healing together. Some days are harder than others, but we're making it. The bakery business has never been better. Opened 2 new locations. Hired Grace Martinez as operations manager. Started teaching baking classes on weekends to young women starting their own businesses. Devin lives in a 1-bedroom apartment across town. Works as an insurance adjuster. I heard through Ruby that he and Aaliyah are still together. They deserve each other. Yesterday was what would have been our 41st anniversary. Jordan came home from work and found me crying in the kitchen. Mom, I'm okay, I said. Just grieving. Not for him. For the time I lost believing in something that wasn't real. He hugged me tight. You didn't lose anything, Mom. You found yourself, and you taught me what real strength looks like. That made me cry harder, but good tears this time. Tonight I'm sitting in my kitchen in my house with my business thriving. And I realize something. I'm not a victim of Devin's betrayal. I'm a survivor of it. And that makes all the difference.